Hey guys, it's James here. Welcome to my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode series. We are here with episode 4 for the Chinese Grand Prix, and also we've got a surprise invitational event coming up in the 2010 Red Bull around Zandvoort. So I'll show you some highlights of that because that was really good fun and that earned the team some money. As we can see, going over to the R&D tree, 2 upgrades have failed. The aero upgrade has failed, so we're going to develop that. That'll come before the Chinese Grand Prix, so there's actually no real impact except for the fact it does cost us some resource points. Again, the powertrain upgrade, that will also come before the Chinese Grand Prix, so we'll get this before the race that we've got in this episode. But it's just frustrating how we keep having to use resource points. But as you can see, we're advancing time to the invitational event.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Check your R&D screen to order any redevelopments.
So as we can see, I already did that. The aero team morale is poor. Probably have to try and boost that with some activities that I pop in, but it's very frustrating. I have to keep using those resource points. So as you can see, it's a checkpoint challenge. I won't show you all of it because it was quite long, but there's a certain time limit and you have to do a lap, and I will show you my second lap because it was quite good. So as you can see, we're using the 2010 Red Bull car around Zandvoort. It's a track, it's new on this year's game. It's really good fun. It's tight, it's twisty around the sandbanks by the coast in the Netherlands. So you can see this turn is quite enjoyable, turn 2 before the bank turn 3. This is a really good overtaking place in Grand Prix because I find that other drivers seem to go quite slowly through turn 2 and then you can swoop around the outside of turn 3. But this tight and twisty section is quite difficult. That yellow banner is a checkpoint and I get more time. But this is lap 2 that I'm showing you. This is absolutely full throttle through here. Try and get as wide as possible. Drift out, touch the curb a couple of times. And then I did miss that apex, but that's fine. It's only a checkpoint challenge. I was still using 100 difficulty as I always am. But I did find this Red Bull really good fun to drive. Obviously there's no DRS. 2010 was the last season with no DRS. So that DRS zone is redundant. So it's quite an interesting feature. But yeah, this is good. We're coming up to the bank turn around Zandvoort. Obviously the V8 turbo engines at the back of this Red Bull car really sound good as well. Coming through the bank turn, they put this in place for the Formula 1. Sadly we didn't go in 2020 because of the pandemic, but that's a lap around Zandvoort. And we passed the checkpoint, which is really good. $100,000 for the team. $150,000 for the team and some acclaim. So we're back in the team headquarters with the Grand Prix coming up on the 16th of April, so it's the 11th now, we're just advancing time. So we can see those upgrades that we reordered will be here in time, which is really good too.
Our new parts have been completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Just looking over to the R&D tree, see if I can order anything else. I've got 580 resource points left, so I might be able to order a minor upgrade. 525, so we do go for this powertrain upgrade, which will be here after the Zandvoort Grand Prix, which will be next episode's thing. So that'll be here before the Catalonia Grand Prix in Barcelona, but we're going to qualifying now. So we're now in qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm loading my special China setup. I call it Stability 1 because it gives me really good stability around these fast corners. Lowering the differential, so I'm a bit kinder on the tyres compared to my normal time trial setup. I'm only going to show you one lap from this qualifying because one was far better than the other. My second lap was a full second quicker than my first lap. I'm going to let you watch this lap totally unedited because I really enjoy this lap, and I think you should be able to watch it without any commentary. So just enjoy the lap. It's another good lap. Obviously you'll see the delta is much faster.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three. Bottas, Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Albon, Perez, Sainz, Ricciardo and Lando Norris, Kvyat, Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Ocon, Grosjean, Magnussen, James and Kimi Raikkonen, Russell, Joe, Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So as we can see, we're now on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix. I made a mistake. I changed the race distance to 25%, so this race is really not very long at all. So it's a simple soft to medium strategy, which is really frustrating that I did that. I really wish I hadn't changed the distance by accident, but that doesn't matter because we're going to go to 5 red lights for the Chinese Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's been a good initial launch, but we've got plenty of wheel spin and that allows Kimi Raikkonen to swing straight past us, and we might even be under pressure from Guan Yu Zhou, who's had a great start. Our teammate storms down the inside into the first corner. We're going to try and swoop round the outside of not just Zhou but also Raikkonen as we head up into 17th. We've already been smashed into by Romain Grosjean as the 2 Haas cars go side by side into the left-hander of turn 3, and that allows Raikkonen to swing back round the outside of us, and we've dropped 1 position from 17th down to 18th. We're going to come under some considerable pressure from our teammate Guan Yu Zhou as we try and lunge down the inside of Raikkonen as everyone is going so slowly into the hairpin of turn 6. And that allows us to get a really poor exit, in fact, as we had to take such a tight line not to hit Raikkonen. We have actually made a tiny bit of contact with our teammate, but we swing round the outside of turn 7, the full throttle left-hander. We've swung all the way round the outside of our teammate and up into 18th place. A very good and bold move between the 2 JNS boys. As you can see, we're still in 18th. We've dropped back down 1 place from our starting position, so it's not the end of the world, but it'd be really nice to get past Raikkonen and both the Haas cars. So we're ahead of all of our rivals, and we're coming onto this long right-hander before the longest straight in Formula 1. It's a full kilometre long. It's often great for passing. We have no DRS, but we're in rich mix and overtake as we almost get hit by Raikkonen as he swings across the track quite aggressively as we go side by side down the long straight. We're going to try and outbrake him, which we do. Make sure we don't get too close to the Haas cars. We get very close behind Kevin Magnussen. We squeeze out Raikkonen, and that is P17. And we are back to our initial starting position. He does put up a bit of a fight, but at the end we do go side by side into the last corner. We run a bit wide, but we get a much better exit, and we are in 17th. As we cut onto the very next lap, we're going to try and dive down the inside of Kevin Magnussen. He swings across, but that doesn't matter as we get ahead of the Haas driver. We almost hit the back of Romain Grosjean, his teammate, but we don't. We keep all of our front wing intact, and we are up into 16th place. So just Romain Grosjean left of all of our rivals to overtake now. And we've also set a purple final sector, which is really impressive. That must mean the extra speed we had on Magnussen as we get now to lap 3. And just as we would be able to get DRS on Romain Grosjean and try and pass him, well, DRS wing is broken. It is slammed shut. We're unable to open the DRS wing because we've got a system fault. That doesn't matter because we've got such a good run on Romain Grosjean anyway. We might not even need the DRS. But he gets DRS though, as now can we see, even though we're in rich and overtake, the lack of the drag reduction system is making us much slower than him, but we're going to swoop to the outside anyway and try and outbrake him, go down the gears fast, try and use some engine braking to slow the car down. We get a much better exit because he has to take a super tight line, and we're up into 15th place, and we are now ahead of Romain Grosjean. So this is really good because we're ahead of all three of our rival teams plus our teammate, and up into 15th place. And we get to the end of lap 4, onto lap 5, and our one-stop strategy in this 25% race, it will be 50% next time out in Zandvoort, but 25% race as we slow it down into the pit lane. We go into what used to be a gravel trap where Lewis Hamilton famously lost the World Championship in 2007, but we are here in the pit lane. Plenty of people making their stops at the end of lap 5. That DRS wing is still forced shut, and this is really, really frustrating because we won't be able to get any sort of good run on the cars that are faster than us. The Esteban Ocons and the Pierre Gasly's, the two cars that are our main competitors now as we try and climb up some more positions in this race. 2.8 second stop, pretty good, pretty standard I think for us. We've pulled off some great stops, but 2.8 seconds is very good. And we see Esteban Ocon as our main rival for the rest of this race. He's part of this train that goes all the way to the first racing point. We almost hit the back of him coming out of turn 3. It's a very, very slow corner, but he's got much better traction. And I have to say, for the rest of the race, it was extremely frustrating. Lewis Hamilton has just pit. He was doing very well in the podium places. I asked Jeff about the rear wing fault, but there's just nothing to report. We can't get close to Esteban Ocon. That Renault is so much quicker. But Kevin Magnussen doesn't get anywhere near us. Our pace is superior to the cars behind us, like the Haas cars, the Alfa Romeos, the Williamses, and Guan Yu Zhou. But it's just not as good as the Renaults, and our main rival, as you can see in the rival settings, Daniel Kvyat has dropped out of the race, and we've just set a purple final sector, but we couldn't do anything in the race. We see we're 5.6 seconds behind Ocon and 4 seconds ahead of Magnussen. We were just stuck in no man's land as we cycled through this second stint. So we're going to come home and finish in 13th place. It's 4 places gained. We've beaten all of our rivals, so on the one hand you have to say it's a good race, but on the other hand it's quite annoying how we just haven't been able to get past anyone after we got past all of our teammates. But we're up into 13th. We also won Driver of the Day as well, which is really good. Pleased with that.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I have to give it to James. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So as you can see, because Daniel Kvyat didn't finish, we are increasing our rivalry points against him. I think we're still losing, but because he's an AlphaTauri, which is quicker, getting some more acclaim for the team as well, up to level 5, which is good. Attract some better drivers at the end of this season. Because of the 25% race, we didn't get the sponsor bonus, but that'll be fixed for next time out in Zandvoort, which is a 36 lap race. So we just have to finish the race with both cars, plus do qualifying laps, and that's the 75 laps that we need for the sponsor bonus. So a very frustrating race in China. Looking forward to a more exciting race in Zandvoort, but I think that's where we're going to end this episode here. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like if you did enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the next episode in Zandvoort. Later, guys.